Hi, besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love.
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun. And have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate. He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie. Allegedly allegations. And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me. Today, I am recording this on Sunday, May 18th. And if you are new to the Besties by Bravo podcast, welcome. You have a bunch of new besties now. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure and hit the like button, subscribe, do all the things, especially join the conversation because I know we are going to have a lot to say. If you're new here because you found me on social media, you know, my first viral piece of content was chit-chatting about mom talk and the secret lives of Mormon wives. Why they had to choose such a long name for this title, Hulu, I have questions. But anywho, if that's why you're here, welcome. I hope you also like Bravo because I also cover that. But today, we will be covering season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Also, yes, now every time I say this, I feel like I sound like the guy from Bridget Jones' Diary, which may be aging me that I have even seen that movie. And it would age me even more to say the age I was when I saw that movie. But her friend that had the one-hit wonder and found that he didn't need to continue making music because he got enough booty from the one song. And someone in a restaurant asks him, "Excuse me." And he says, "Yes, it was me." Well, he was sitting on his wife's coat and he was just asking him to move. So yes, it does feel a bit like that when I say this. However, yes, it was me at the very end of that cliffhanger, episode 10, season 2 of Secret Lives. That was my content very, very, very far at the end. Now, we will be getting to that. I will also, as I'm recapping, because my regular besties here know that I really get into the details, the nitty gritty, the meat of it. And again, if you're finding me from social media, you probably don't know me as well as the besties who've been here a while do. Well, my friends and my new friends are going to get to know me. I talk a lot. I sometimes talk fast. I sometimes let my ADHD get in the way. Please don't turn me off. I swear it's going to be fun. Okay. Besties, let's get on into it. Episode 1, season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We are starting with an influencer event for Cowboy pillows. Something about this says to me that Cowboy pillows are supposed to be the bubbies. Just a guess on my part. Whitney shows up, which, by the way, I have the same dress that Demi is wearing in this. It's by Show Me Your Mew Mew. I have to be honest. I wish I did not spend as much as I did on that dress, but every single time I wear that dress, I get more compliments on it than I do any other outfit I own. So, yeah, it's in my LTK, but also you can just go find it. It's by Show Me Your Mew Mew. I have the exact same color and everything, and somehow that color is sort of universally flattering. Surprisingly, it's like that kind of green. Anyway, y'all don't care. So, Whitney Well, she does have a brand new style again, which Jesse does note that it's a new hair. And of course, it's a brand new Whitney. No one is happy to see her, unsurprisingly. In confession, when asked how she feels about being the villain, Whitney says she thinks everyone's pissed at her still, especially with her saying last year that she left and good luck without me. And she feels that that was probably a bit of an oopsies. And we got Jacob Black. I mean, Taylor Lautner. Sorry, he'll always be Jacob Black to me. Twilight. Well, we get a clip from his podcast with his wife. I mean, I never really thought we'd have a crossover of Taylor Lautner and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but here we are, where she said she doesn't think she owes anyone anything. And if she had anything to say to these girls, then she'd say it to their faces. But Whitney basically thinks the ladies have some sticks up their butts and need to chill the F out and wonders if the fame has already gone to their heads. Well, spoiler alert, it certainly has gone to one of these women's heads. Miranda shows up and they're all just kind of going, what? Whoa, what's she doing here? As if they had no idea. They knew she was coming. Come on, you guys. We watch reality TV. We know. We know. So let's get into a quick little story time, I guess. We'll do a little recap of how it all started with some of the soft swinging scandal. And if you're watching on YouTube, I do have graphics. Okay, get excited. If you're listening, I'll still be explaining it. Okay, so you'll notice if you're looking here on YouTube, I happen to find a screen grab of a TikTok video Taylor posted. This was quite a while ago, bear this in mind, with Miranda and Camille. Miranda's pregnant in it, and it does happen to be them replying to someone leaving a comment, "You guys do wife swap?" The irony. So let's get on into it. We have the OG3 of Mom Talk. That was Camille and her husband is Sam Monday. And we have Taylor, of course, and Tate. And then we have Miranda and Chase, who are married. Taylor actually started out her content with haunted house spoof type of stuff before creating Mom Talk. Okay. They actually became, the three of them, Taylor, Miranda, and Camille, most famous on the internet. Their virality was really rooted in Taylor trolling everyone that she was Miranda and Camille's mom. I look it up. It's funny because everyone would say that they thought Taylor looked so much older, ironically. But our OG3 mom talkers, again, Taylor, Miranda, and Camille. Now, at some point in all of this, the soft swinging begins. Now, soft swinging for them, a lot of people are constantly asking, what is soft swinging? Okay, there's no actual definition for this. It's just that they weren't doing the home run bits, okay? They were doing the naughty bits. If you watch Love Island UK, it was spin the bottle, the wives kissing one another, heavy petting, intimacy with their own partners while in the same room with the other couples, blindfolding the wives, and the wives would have to guess which husband, which it may not have been their own, was kissing them, things like that, okay? That's where the swapping was happening. But there were not supposed to be any home runs between any of the separate couples or swinging at all without all of the spouses present. Okay. So we have now added Braden and McKenna Rowley. Now, McKenna has recently done a bit of a tell all story time, and their story is pretty dang wild. Okay. I'll get into that some more, but eventually, what is alleged is that Taylor and Braden, McKenna's husband, were having an affair. That's the allegations on one side, while the allegations or the story from Taylor is that after a night of heavy intoxication, Taylor and Braden had gone ahead and done the full home run. They had sex, okay, at least to her knowledge, because she doesn't remember it, which all the implications of what that means, consent, things like that, not great. So, additionally, Taylor at this point also alleges that Chase, Miranda's husband, came to her at the gym and said, look, I have feelings for you, but this is something that Chase denies still to this day. The whole scandal explodes. Taylor's being accused of being a husband stealer, things like that. And first, McKenna and Braden get divorced. Then it's Taylor and Tate, and then eventually it's Chase and Miranda. Now, I also have to go back a second here, that Camille and Sam claim they were never, ever a part of the soft swinging. There is also allegedly an OnlyFans photo allegedly, don't go looking for it, don't be that type of asshole, of Miranda and Taylor making out, things like that. Okay. But again, eventually everyone is getting their divorces. Now it's at this point, it explodes. And here's the problem: Taylor is being labeled the husband stealer, while Miranda is denying having any part, Miranda and Chase are, of having any part of the soft swinging. What I want to remind you of is that at this time, Miranda is like 22 or 23 years old. Okay. She is practically a child. She was 4 months postpartum. And this, she wasn't ready to have her entire sex life exposed. Everybody in Mom Talk at this point, which I want you to look, if you are watching on YouTube, you're not going to see any of the girls that are on our cast here in the Mom Talk at this time, because this all exploded June 2022. And eventually at this point, it becomes just Taylor Talk, where she starts posting things like, oh, in my 20s, getting divorced, starting therapy, living on my own for the first time ever, along with 2 little kids. So she and Tate are getting a divorce, and that's when it all really is starting to explode. The rest is history. The rest of our girls join Mom Talk. And that's when they start filming the first season. And if you go on Taylor's TikTok, it's well back around December. You can see that there's holiday stuff and all of that. They were filming season 1. Then Taylor's arrest happened. They paused and picked back up eventually. Okay, we're there. Now, Miranda is saying that she's really here to tell her side of the scandal. And Layla kind of calls Miranda out on the fact that she turned down season 1 and is suddenly here now. So the other thing with that is this show was originally supposed to be centered around Taylor, Miranda, and Camille. Miranda and Camille turned it down. Miranda, at that time, her version is that she was saying that because she and Taylor were not good, and after Taylor had gone ahead and had the arrest and they were having to pick filming back up, that she was like, well, if Taylor's not a part of it, sure, I'll do it. Because she didn't think Taylor would want her there, but also she didn't really want to be a part of it with Taylor. She left Mom Talk, and we'll get to that more, because obviously, if there was an issue between her husband, Taylor, her and Taylor, why would she stick around for Mom Talk? Okay, that's why she left. Done. All right. Had to do a little bit of backtracking here. Now let's get on to the full recap. Miranda does admit she's eating her words on saying she'd never do the show. And after Demi asks her, Miranda says she did see her divorce from Chase coming. And when she made the decision, she was very certain. She really felt like their kids would be better off if they cut things off romantically. And yes, she did initiate it. When asked, Miranda is definitely interested in rejoining Mom Talk, and it's because she's no longer married, which again, obviously being a part of the group with Taylor while she was married would not have been something that would have, been healthy for her marriage with Chase. If Taylor is saying Chase said he had feelings for her and Chase is saying he never did, I mean, it would just be impossible. Demi asks her if she's there to protect the lie that she had been saying, which was she was never involved in the swinging. And then she asks, is this what you're protecting here? Is that what you're trying to do, is to protect the lie that you were ever involved in this? Miranda says at this point that the height of what she was involved in was playing spin the bottle and kissing other people. And clearly the girls don't believe that, because they've only received Taylor's version on things. And I think it has to be noted that at this time, again, Miranda is only 26 years old at this time of filming, 26. Again, she could have maybe been 23, 24, I should say, at most, when all of that was happening. And she was so young. If y'all had put a camera on me and mic'd me up at 23, 24, it would have been a shit show. Okay. I would never be able to show my face in public again. Anywho, she says that it was super jarring for her when Taylor came out and said everyone was hooking up with everyone, which in all intents and purposes does sound like everyone was having sex with one another and swapping who they were having sex with, when that's not exactly what happened. And remember, Miranda didn't originally sign up to have her sex life outed for the internet. But at the same time, it's understandable that Taylor wanted to defend herself from the rumors that she was just having an affair with Braden Rowley. So Miranda says they did not have sex ever, period, and she will go to her grave with that. Now, here's the thing, too. Yeah, okay. There was that whole thing with the photos, allegedly on OnlyFans, of Taylor and Miranda. I have caught a glimpse of one, I think, on Reddit, but again, please don't go searching for them. Let's not be assholes, okay? Just trust me, it's like not even worth looking at. It's fine. In confessional, Demi finds it strange that Miranda's coming out with it after so long, and she's not sure who is being truthful, considering Miranda and Taylor's stories are completely different. After Miranda confirms that there was not a single hot dog or bun that was not her husband's near her person or her mouth, Michaela says in confessional, she 100% believes Taylor over Miranda because of the lashing Taylor has gotten from the public being so open in her own truth of it all. And Taylor shows up. She says in confessional she's very surprised to see Miranda here. And at the event, she gets stuck sitting right next to Miranda. Then she confirms in confessional that Miranda was one of the girls participating in the swinging scandal, reminding us Chase allegedly told her she had feelings for her and how she was labeled as trying to steal her best friend's husband, but that it wasn't the case. So when Taylor sits down next to Miranda, Miranda says, "I won't bite and I won't kiss you." And Taylor, honey, you know what? She is quicker than I give her credit because she just goes, "Not this time." And Demi is like dying to clarify. "Wait, so you guys made out? You guys kissed? What? Was there tongue? What'd you do?" Demi asks Taylor how she's feeling, and she just straight up says horrible. In confessional, Taylor says she and Miranda haven't had the moment really to discuss their situation, hash out the history between themselves, but today is not the day, okay? Not today, Satan. Not today, blonde. Not today, swinging, all right? Because she's just too overwhelmed from her other situation with Dakota and lets us know that Dakota was, in fact, involved with another girl early in their relationship. And after he was swearing up and down for 2 years that nothing transpired beyond kissing with Jenna, which is the other girl, he finally let her know, well, there might be more to the story. See, Taylor, what had happened was Taylor tells them she's been in a pit of sadness, essentially, and she's got that bad bitch, Taylor, coming right back up to the surface. Now, for audio, I'm looking at the pages upon pages of notes, and I do believe we may have to do a two-parter here. Let's see. You've been forewarned. I'll put a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode in case. We are now in confessional with Jen Affleck. Can we just start calling her Jen now? Okay. Who was asked about the status of her relationship with Zach and how she's feeling about it. She says it's been a few months of straight hell since Vegas. So here's what also needs to be noted. They started filming season 2 only a few months after season 1 wrapped. So the Vegas Chippendales temper tantrum that Gary Busey Jr. had was not that long ago at this point, okay? She then lets us know that at this moment, she and Zach are currently separated and she's back in Utah because she decided to be back in with the Mom Talk girls instead of with Zach. Wow. You know what, y'all? I am so glad our Incredibles villain cut his hair because not everyone is meant for hair past their ears. You know what I mean? And Zach Affleck, you, sir, are one of them. Also remembering he was studying to be a heart surgeon, I believe, because that's like what his father and grandfather were. Imagine laying in a hospital about to have your chest cavity opened up and young Gary Busey with a scraggly Karen bob comes in to say, "Hi, I'm your surgeon today." No, like, keep her away from me. Zach has come down to Utah from Arizona, where Jen left him to go to med school after they decided they were going to go there instead of New York City. She says she was pretty firm in her decision to separate as things continued to be pretty rocky in their marriage when they were in Arizona. She also tells us that she needs him to put her feelings before his. And okay, so yeah, this is what it's like when 26-year-olds get married so young that they have been married long enough to have had 2 children. So Jen, baby doll, girly pop, that's not quite it. Let's maybe consider he needs to, at the very least, bare minimum, acknowledge and realize you have feelings at all. You know, to be frank, I don't think he even realized you were anything other than a pretty robot dancing with other fembots on the internet and bringing in some money for him to gamble doing it. Like, I don't think he knew you were human. Zach walks up to the door with flowers for her and his suitcase. And he comes in, says the place looks nice, and ventures into this territory by saying that if she doesn't mind, he would like for it to be his new spot too. She reminds him that the last few months have been very difficult, which I can only imagine. He admits to knowing he had messed up. And y'all, this feels so rehearsed for me. Zach does. While I fully believe that it's great he's saying these things, something tells me Mother Affleck gave him these scripts. let's just call a spade a spade. He says that no matter what the circumstances were, he should have never spoken to her that way and that he'll have to live with that for the rest of his life. And your daughter will also see it one day too, Zach, along with your scraggle Karen Bob. He now wants to prove to Jen that he loves her, is a good husband, father, and fight for their marriage. Oh man, y'all, I meant to upload this for YouTube, but you're just going to have to go hit my TikTok. I'm so sorry. I meant to do this. See, this is part of, there's always a little bit of chaos here at Besties by Bravo, if you don't know. Yeah, so him and the fatherly thing, this cycle of being a complete shithead to Jen has been going for a while, and that shouldn't surprise you. There was a video that was on Jen's TikTok of the two of them with their first child, their daughter, who was really, really teensy tiny baby. And Jen catches on camera baby girl saying mama, her first word. And she's so excited. Of course, what mother isn't? And I should say what parent isn't, because Zach looks angry and says, no, she didn't. She didn't say that. Dada, dada. Very, like what a little prick. Douche canoe. Anyway, in confessional, Zach says that after Vegas, it felt like the whole world was against him and they were wanting him and Jen to get a divorce. Well, that's because you were verbally abusive to her. He admits he does have a lot of work to do to better himself and tells Jen he's been in therapy. Oh, so like you've been in therapy for 3 whole weeks. Wow, how progressive of you, Zachary. His therapist told him he needed to let Jen do her thing and what she wants to do with her within her own life. Oh my God, how big of you to allow your daughter, oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I mean your wife, to be an adult and make her own decisions. In confessional, Jen says that for the longest time, she hasn't felt that Zach considered her feelings and that within the church, wives are expected to be submissive. You don't say. However, she seems to feel that this principle may cause her to turn from the church if they cannot be seen as equals. Yeah, it's pretty eye-opening, I'm sure, honey. Jen tells him she does want to fight for their marriage, but she's been in a cycle of self-blame for so many years, believing what he clearly has been telling her all this time, in my opinion, that she was too sensitive and the problem. And this is what also makes this feel very disingenuous on Zach's part. I guarantee that if the entire world had not been up his ass online, calling him out for being an abusive douche canoe, he would have never, ever made any claim that he needed to try and change. Because also the way he rolled his eyes at her when she said this gives me everything. Because even if he's working on himself for real, then you also know that that was a gut reaction to something she is saying she feels. And that gut reaction has been happening for years, in my opinion. How about that? She tells him this is the first time in her life she sees that she needs to put her foot down and that she needs her partner to know her well enough to understand and respect her feelings, but that anyone who chooses not to respect this will not be a part of her life. Even if she is still Jenny from the block. And says that even if she had made the decision to go ahead and go through with the Chippendales show and attend and get the lap dances and all of that, that she is still the mother of his children and essentially that he needs to treat her as such. She goes on that because she needs to put her foot down on this, she will also be choosing mom talk. And that if she wants to go to Chippendales, damn it, I'll be doing it. Basically, she's saying she will be making her own decisions and doing what she wants when she wants. And that if he has an issue with this, then there's the door, Gary. It's funny that he then tells her he believes his actions speak louder than his words when it was his words, as far as we know, that got him here in the first place. And that he believes that just being there as an action should be enough. It is giving me, in my opinion, cycle of abuse here. But again, I don't have any solid proof of that, anything outside of verbal abuse. I believe she's tried to stand up for herself in the past with him. Again, this is just my opinion, my guess. And that he probably gaslit her into believing that she's too sensitive, that it's her fault, and that he says things like this, and it's just what she's gotten used to. And then because he knows deep down he's being a monster and won't admit it, he will then come back in with the flowers acting sweet as pie. Also, while we will get to this, I think Jen stayed hung up on the quote unquote relation to Ben Affleck as one of the ways to help convince herself that she should still be with him because it's like, at least I'm related to Ben Affleck. Mhm. He then tells her he put in an application to leave med school with his dean, and his feelings toward mom talk haven't changed. But he also admits that through the course of their relationship, it's been about him and what he has going on. And what he wants to do now, well, he has no idea. No clue what he's going to do with his life. Sir, I would not rely on riding the mom talk gravy train if I were you. Go back to med school. He says he's there to support Jen in her career if she'll give him a chance to show her and asks if he can stay. She says she's worried about whether he will be wanting to go back to med school, which he confirms that it is a 1-year leave of absence. Jen starts crying because she needs someone with her right now so badly. And even though he's there, he's been a dick to her. She admits that it's difficult to be a part of mom talk at the moment from the surliness between him and the ladies. So she asks him if he would be willing to meet with some of the girls. Immediate eye rolling, which I don't totally blame him, but also at this point, sir, you should have your eyes trained on hers. Okay? Don't roll them. Keep them still. He's using the allegation that the girls in Mom Talk have told quote unquote blatant lies about him and the things they've said about him. And he says he actually reached out to every one of the ladies. Now we see a flashback of Jessie telling the rest of the group she has a voice memo from Zach. And of course, Jen is not in the room, but she asks them if they want her to play it for him. And it's Zach saying, "Hey, Jessie, it's Zach. I just wanted to send you a quick voice message. Obviously, I never planned on those texts being seen, but they were. And regardless," and then I was super annoyed because the girls were talking over the rest of what he was saying because we heard like none of what he actually said in the message because I do want to know if he actually said anything decent and anything that shows he's not a terrible human being. Although they weren't wrong, that it ties into what I was saying earlier, which is that he's only apologizing or making any sort of effort because he was seen. They all say that it was essentially a copy and paste of what he sent to each of them as well. Jen asks Zach if the girls responded, and it does sound like that's a no. And he says again, obviously, those texts were never meant to be shared, but I shouldn't have been saying those things. Yet again, you're blaming Jen by bringing up that those texts were what you considered to be private and that she wasn't supposed to share them. So it's your fault. Everyone knows I'm an abusive asshole. Jen says she thinks that they should keep the Arizona home, though, because she feels that she needs some time to figure out if they will be moving forward together in their marriage and that leaving med school is not enough at this time. So you were wanting him to leave medical school. Is that what we're saying here? She then asks what changes he's going to be making if he's going to be living there. Then in confessional, the main thing I pick up in everything Jen lists here is her saying that she specifically that it's going to be taking probably a little bit of time for these changes in Zach to manifest this time around. Okay. So obviously she could mean this go at our marriage, this time around taking a new go at our marriage. But also I think it could mean quote unquote this time around that I'm allowing him back around again because it devolved into what it was before the separation, the last time I let him back in, and the time before that, and before that. So essentially, I'm saying when she said this time around, it kind of felt like maybe she was just saying, like, yeah, I'm going to try again after trying this so many freaking times. But because he doesn't actually give her an answer on what changes he will be making, she goes ahead and tells him, no talking over her, understand and validate her, generally think of her and her feelings before his own, and says she knows it will be hard for him to do that with his personality. Like what? Narcissistic? In confessional, Zach says he believes that he and Jen are meant to be together, and he has always believed that. Also, admitting that in the church, there's a specific type of pressure on marriages, and that he fell into that, putting pressure on himself and Jen to be a particular way that conforms to the church's views. He asks for a hug, and she jokes that he can have a handshake, but obviously they hug and kiss and all the things. Like, we're cute. We love each other so much. Taylor shows up at Macy's, and it's not going to be a cute little normal hang, besties. Sorry. In confessional, Taylor tells us that after Ever was born, oh, that's kind of cute, after Ever. Sadly, it's not happily ever after, but Maybe after ever happily? Okay. Anyway, she and Dakota were good, and she was even considering getting engaged to him. But then she found out he'd been lying about the extent of his extracurricular activities when they first began the relationship. We get a throwback to last season's cliffhanger with Macy getting on a call with Jenna. So now Taylor is ready to speak to Jenna today to get down to the nitty gritty. Taylor says she feels this whole situation may be her karma because she feels that she's done a lot of shitty things. I have to say, it makes me really sad Taylor is still self-punishing so much over the things she did. She's clearly also on the verge of a panic attack too and has to take deep breathing, telling herself, don't be a bitch, don't be a bitch. Gosh, it's almost kind of like something I have to chant every day. Don't be a bitch. Ooh, don't talk so loud. No one is across the street that you are needing to talk to. Don't be your toddler's bitch. You can stand on your own 2 feet. You are the mother. You are in charge. He is not your boss. Actually, yes, he is your boss. Okay, fine. Jenna is here, and God bless this girl. Like, yeah, I'm sure she was kind of thrilled to be a part of filming, but also this had to be terrifying. I would have, no, I would have shit myself walking in that house. There's no way. She just sits and she is cheesing so hard at Taylor because you can tell she is so freaking nervous. And then suddenly she just finally lets her smile fall. So awkward. Taylor at least says that it's not on Jenna and she knew something was off and just wants the truth. Jenna offers her her phone so that Taylor can go through her messages, and Jenna is just shaking, handing her the phone. And now it's dead effing silent as Taylor is scrolling, and it's like the crickets are chirping for them. Dakota's a liar. Chirp, chirp. He doesn't look like Jake Gyllenhaal. Chirp, chirp. He wasn't even worth it, but at least you got a precious baby. Chirp, chirp. Taylor hones in on a text that's from August 3rd and asks if they hung out, if he and Jenna did. And it turns out Jenna and Dakota went to a trampoline park, the dinosaur museum, and then he also had come to her house and watched a movie. Were y'all on dates with your kids? Or are you both literally 12 years old with your parents dropping you off at the trampoline park and dinosaur museum? Sure, yeah, one of those could be fun if you're already actually seeing someone, but what? 12-year-old dates. It's concluded that the date of August 3rd is a day that Dakota was at Jenna's house and was a date that he told Taylor he was also not hanging out with Jenna when he was actually at her house. Jenna confirms that he had stayed the night at her house at some point, but there was never any sex. So they are absolutely in high school and did hand stuff, but also it's super sad because she said she couldn't have sex with him because even doing the hand stuff made her feel like she was sinning as a Mormon. God, the shame in there. And this is after Taylor sees he sent her a text, sent Jenna one, apologizing if things had quote unquote gone too far the previous night when they had hung out. Then it's about how Dakota had invited Jenna to his home, and Taylor is comparing messages from her phone to Jenna's. And apparently, the night after he had apologized to Jenna for how far things had gone, he came over to Taylor's and had sex with her. Now, listen, I want to make this clear. I am not even remotely a prude, but something about the way Taylor continuously just describes having sex with Dakota. If you have kiddos in the car, pause. Okay. Or it's not safe for work, whatever. The way she continuously describes having sex with Dakota as he came over and fucked me. It feels like, and I know, I'm not jumping ahead because we'll get there when her dad ends up slut shaming her and she says she felt like trash to Dakota. But it feels like she's continuing that narrative for how she feels inside with the shame that's been put on her religiously and by others by giving Dakota the possessive terms with the action of he effed me instead of it being we effed. And it just feels like she's being as crude as possible about it in order to support the narrative she's feeling of shame. Apparently, Dakota deleted a lot of messages from his own phone when he showed Taylor. In confessional, Taylor points out all the inconsistencies in Dakota's version, which was him saying that it was all Jenna instigating things with him. When, upon reading the messages, it's absolutely the other way around. And she lays out the fact that he apologized to Jenna for going too far when they didn't even have sex. But he's just straight up having sex with Taylor without any regard for her possible feelings in that. And then once again, it's Taylor feeling like what she'll refer to herself as, which is trash. But the way I would put it is feeling disrespected. And disrespect is a very difficult thing and emotion to feel, accept, or deal with for any human being on the planet, no matter their position in life. She also says she feels that she was the quote unquote night girl for Dakota while he was saying sweet things to Jenna and taking her on dates. She felt that he was treating her as an object, essentially. And Taylor goes on to confirm what I've been saying by stating that she feels like a piece of effing trash. I mean, it's a gut punch, y'all. Oh, kills me. She adds that within the Mormon church, it's taught that you are supposed to wait to sleep with someone until it's the person that you believe you'll be with forever. I mean, it's that way in the Christian church as well. I mean, listen, y'all, I went to private Christian school. We would have chapel Mondays and Wednesdays. I would go to church on either Saturday or Sunday. So essentially, I know a lot of how she feels because I would have one singular day off from church a week until I was 14 years old. And, I had the purity ring promising to save myself for marriage, things like that, which you never really saw except for the Jonas Brothers, which God bless, many of the boys walking around with purity rings. Okay. Anywho, Taylor says she believes that if she hadn't been sleeping with Dakota that early on, she wouldn't have been hurt so easily and still views this principle as a quote unquote guideline to prevent it. And as in this principle from the church, the Mormon church. And to be fair, yes, I do believe that guideline isn't a bad thing. I also believe that if those guidelines were not so heavily enforced with such shame, a lot of, especially women, but also men, wouldn't believe that every time they had, sex, intimacy with someone, it had to have an insanely deep emotional attachment. For some people, it does need that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But for someone who wants freedom from that shame being just hammered down on them, I feel like that's where it also connects to that. So I'm not saying either way, whatever your view is on intimacy, there's nothing wrong with it, but it kind of explains that a little bit more to me. But Taylor on the sofa here is starting to tear up and she apologizes to Jenna for that. And Jenna tells her that she saw Taylor had posted a TikTok with him in her bathroom at the time that she and Dakota had been chatting. And she felt in her gut that something was up. So she asked Dakota if he was dating Taylor. And I have to tell y'all, oh my God, I fully believe Dakota said this. Jenna tells her that Dakota told her he was not dating Taylor and quote, it's just for clout and she's helping me build my social media. Oh, Taylor, honey. This just, because anyone who's ever in their life had their heart broken, it was like, oh, come here, let me give you a hug. Do you want chocolate? Do you want Doritos? What do you want, baby girl? I know you love Taco Bell. What's the order? Let's go get it. But she starts breaking down completely and sobbing so hard, saying she hates Dakota. Because apparently Dakota was also telling Taylor this whole time that Jenna was begging him to hang out and he made her sound desperate. Taylor is absolutely broken by this. She's sobbing about how she loved him, all of it. And Dakota, I swear to God, my usual Besties by Bravo listeners now, I am a Scorpio sun and I have a Scorpio moon. Taylor also happens to have a Scorpio moon from what I recall seeing. I like to say that I have 6 foot by 6 foot holes designated in remote areas for any man that I feel the need to just talk with. So come on, Dakota. I just want to talk. A little chit chat. Let's chitty chat, Dakota. Taylor, let me know. As we cut to a TikTok of Whitney and Connor dancing with the text overlay, when you survive the rumors of 2024. And sadly, Taylor and Dakota did not. Now we're over to Miranda and Whitney getting together with their kids. And in confessional, Miranda reminds us that she is one of the true Mom Talk OGs. Remember, she was one of our OG threes. And that while Taylor ran the show, Taylor never had any plans of going it alone so far as creating Mom Talk. And oh my gosh, Miranda's daughter's name is Coco. I want to have a girl so that I can give her that nickname. Is that weird? Anyway, in confessional, Whitney really is ready for someone else to be the new villain. She's kind of, in a way, hoping it's Miranda. The swinging scandal is brought up again, and Miranda talks about how she wants to have a conversation with Taylor and that she doesn't want to resolve their issues online because that's where it always ends up anyway. So Miranda will be hosting a happy hour at her house to break the ice, feel out if the group is open to having her rejoin. She invited Whitney, who, let's be so real, she wouldn't have been invited otherwise. Now we have Macy, Michaela, Jesse, and Demi going to walk through a haunted house. And listen, y'all, I am not a fan of these at all. There are plenty of frightening things in my life that I don't need to be paying money to be frightened by, like the economy. My toddler shit his pants without a nighttime pull-up on. Yeah. Okay. Anywho. Well, in confessional, Michaela says she hates haunted houses and questions why she would pay someone to make her skin crawl when Whitney can do it for free. Okay, that was like a 24-year-old joke. I made very adult jokes about it. They go through the haunted house and then outside to cheers to Mom Talk surviving the haunted house. Now, Miranda's happy hour is brought up, and they don't really even get why they're invited to this. So in confessional, Macy says that she doesn't understand why Miranda would be hosting this and reaching out now after 3 years of silence. And when she says, just kidding, I know why, a producer presses her on it. And she says it's because she wants that bag, baby, after burning the bridges and is coming back in at this convenient time now that Mom Talk is making bank. Okay? Demi says that anyone coming into Mom Talk at this point is just clout chasing. And Jesse says that they were all side-eyeing Miranda at the event when she was speaking on her version of events in the soft swinging. But Macy says she feels like Demi and Jesse were actually kissing Miranda's ass. And you know what? I don't agree with that, Macy. I think they were just choosing not to be complete and total assholes to this woman that they barely know. Jesse is shocked and just says she doesn't really know how to act around Miranda and she doesn't even really know her. And Demi denies it as well, saying it's not ass kissing, it's not giving a chance, but she just wants to know the truth and that she's not going to be a bitch just to be a bitch. At least not in this case. Michaela points out them being hard on Whitney for spending 2 years being against Taylor, so they're going to need to give it just as well to Miranda. They all agree that Taylor and Miranda need to have a sit down to hash all of this out and get the full truth. Now, Taylor's mom comes over with Ever because Dakota had to go to work, and it's very surprising to Taylor that her mother has the baby because Dakota never even gave her a heads up. And we find out more in confessional with Taylor because she lightly touches on calling Dakota after meeting with Jenna, which I can only imagine how that went. The shrieking inside of that car had to have been piercing. By the way, side note, besties, if you ever need to practice screaming, if you're like me and you wonder if you'd ever be able to scream after years of being an adult who only screams on the inside, your car is the best place to do that. You're welcome. Or if you need to let out a rage scream, your car. But my best guess is that when she says Dakota distanced himself after the call where all he could say was, I'm sorry, it's most likely part of why he didn't even tell her that her mother had the baby, which, even though the baby was perfectly safe with her mother, that's a hard WTF is wrong with you, Dakota, from me. I don't care if it is like literally the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa. Well, she was kind of an asshole though, wasn't she? Anyway, I don't care if it's the most perfect angel human being on the planet themselves. I need to know who has my baby, when they have my baby, and where my baby is. Okay? Learn your lesson here, Dakota. But good. Barking God. Her mother looks like she got a full-blown face transplant. And, it was a facelift and a nose job. Good for her. Good for her. You go, Leanne. But also, Jesus, her mother is a piece of work, y'all. Sorry. I did have to say something not so nice about someone's mama, but oh my God. She's asking Taylor if she looks Taylor's age. To me, she tries to play it off as a joke, but I don't think it was. I think she really was trying to look like Taylor, and I don't blame her. I do also find it weird. Just saying, a little odd. Taylor tells her mom about meeting up with Jenna and that she's most upset about the lying from Dakota. She starts getting emotional again, and she says it feels like she fell in love with someone that doesn't exist and that Dakota isn't the guy she thought he was at all. She feels that all she's asked from Dakota in their relationship is honesty. And when asked if she could handle it if Dakota were to walk away, she says she'd choose that over the feeling she had finding out from Jenna that Dakota had been lying, and also that it tells her if he walks away, then she has all of her answers anyway. I get it. I mean, it's like, I don't want you, but you're not allowed to be happy and go find someone else. Is it wrong? Yes. Am I right? Yes. Am I wrong and right? Yes. In confessional, Taylor explains that her stepdad is dad because he adopted her when she was only 2 years old. And she admits she has trust issues that stem from her biological father, leaving her at such a young age. She tells us about meeting her dad at 4 years old and that all he did was see her in the restaurant and looked at her and said, "Sup, kid." And she seems to have realized now that she is understandably harboring a lot of father issues, daddy issues, we'll say. Taylor is crying to her mom and saying how she had just wanted her relationship with Dakota to be different than the one with, I'm assuming, Tate, where there's loyalty and trust. But here she is on the same couch just 1 year later, crying all over again. And listen, I hear fully that Taylor has put her mother through some shit for real. Okay. For real. Between the soft swinging, getting arrested, then having a baby with Dakota immediately after this divorce. I get it. Mom is tired. All right. But the way this woman just goes, "I'm sorry." Of course, she also can't really move her face right now. But listen, someone, I can't remember who it was. I believe it might be Kara from Everybody's Business But Mine. She says that Taylor is what would have happened if Stassi Schroeder and Kristen Doty's mother raised a daughter together. And actually, now that I'm saying it, I do feel that Leanne is also a mix of Stassi and Kristen Doty's mom, especially if you have watched Vanderpump Rules. And we got that episode with the mother witches of WeHo. Mhm. If you know, you know. If you haven't, if you are a fan of this show and you have not watched Vanderpump Rules, I implore you to watch it from the beginning. And what I would give to go back and watch that pilot episode of Vanderpump Rules from day one without any knowledge of what has transpired over the years. What I would do. Her mom tells her that this is why she wanted her to wait to jump into a relationship because of something like this potentially happening. Ma'am, she needs to hear you say, as her mother, "He hurt you, baby. He's dead to us. He hurt you. He hurt me." You did need to wait for the ink to dry on those divorce papers and some therapy, and I wish you had, but here we are, okay? Anyway, are we TPing his house or are we ruining his credit score, sweetheart? We can go big or go small, whichever feels better. You just tell me. Let mama know. Her mother goes on to harp on the church's values on keeping a family together and that she thinks Taylor's generation is like, "Oh, well, it's not working. See you later. Bye." Okay. And when Taylor reminds her it's been 2 years of a relationship not working, her mom tells her she still needs to try with Dakota. Girl, listen, I hate to talk some shit on your mother, but you have a hater mom, and that's insane. Like, on what planet? Leanne, it was an asshole move. Tay, baby girl, I can come up with something in the middle of the credit score and TPing if you want. And I'll even throw in a voodoo doll that I don't know how to use, but I'll make sure you'll feel better when you clean your toilet with it. I would know nothing about doing something like that. In confessional, Taylor says she's just truly at a loss at this moment when her mom says this to her, and that while she loves Dakota, she doesn't trust him. And she says she's just going to have to tell him to stay out of the house. Now, here's the thing. I did that this time have some DMs from someone whenever it seemed like they were playing us on social media that they were back together, telling me that no, Dakota moved out long before he posted about that on social media and that it had something to do with maybe someone they know's grandmother. It was like him living below the grandmother and possibly even renting from her. I couldn't find the DM again, but I absolutely recall that. So there's a little extra tea for y'all. Now we go to Jen and Zach doing ketamine therapy together. Hits Jen real hard, real hard. She tells him she had memories of when they first started dating and how he had felt like her missing piece. And now he's going to talk about them running through coffee fields in Hawaii and wants to relive that day, I guess. She's crying and says she just wants to be happy again. And she remembers that she prayed a month before they met for God to help her find her person. And she believes God led her to him. They're good now. So she asks him if he's still planning on reaching out to Demi and Jesse. Yeah. Now Dakota is moving out of Taylor's house, even though we know he moved out, Okay. In confessional, Dakota admits that when he saw the phone call on last season between Jenna and Macy, he was trying to avoid more problems. So he decided to tell Taylor he only made out with Jenna, not that they dry humped. And how effing old are you? This is so Mormon coded, it's unreal. Or that he fell asleep with her on her couch. He then admits that the big one he left out was that they were in Jenna's room and he deleted the messages because he was scared of losing both Taylor and their son. He wishes he was honest with her. Now you do, but knows it's too late at this point. And he's very emotional and says he feels a lot of guilt and acknowledges these are the consequences of his own actions and the self-sabotaging, essentially. He feels like he let their son down, but he is determined. He is going to fight for Taylor. And now it's happy hour night. Miranda knows she's pretty much walking into the lion's den at this point. And good luck, babes. Good luck. She has such a cute little spread out for them. But in confessional, Michaela says that the cheese spread with the cheese spelling out mom talk is apparently too cheesy for her and smells of desperation. Okay, that was mean. Rude. How rude. Miranda was just trying to do something nice for them and be cute. And I don't know, maybe I'm defensive because I would have absolutely done the same type of shit with the cheese. There would have been something that spelled out mom talk. It might have been pepperonis. Might have been some prosciutto. I don't know. I would have gotten creative. Whitney shows up, and in confessional, Demi wants to play the stay away from Whitney game. And she also wonders if Miranda has ulterior motives and she really wants Demi does to protect the health of mom talk. Sorry. Demi's voice does not match her overall appearance to me. Whitney tells Miranda that she says 3 is the new 6 for the number of kids a family has, and this third baby will be her last. Oh my God, no, but can you imagine having 6 children? Oh my God. Oh my God. In confessional, Michaela says she finds the friendship between Whitney and Miranda phony and that they're probably trauma bonding over ruining friendships and leaving mom talk. Can we be frank for a minute? Okay, can we be Frankie for a minute? All Miranda did was deny soft swinging because she was mortified this came out so publicly and stopped speaking to her best friend when her best friend alleged that her own husband told her he had feelings for her. I'm sorry, but how exactly did Miranda ruin lives, friendships, and destroy anything? Okay. I'm sorry, but why are we being so rude to Miranda? She was 4 months postpartum, lost her best friend, is questioning if her husband has feelings for her best friend. Let's be a little more fair here, shall we? Jen shows up now, and she says in confessional that while Michaela, Layla, and Macy are against Miranda rejoining Mom Talk, she's pretty fine with it. And then she goes over to Whitney and says that she's surprised she's even still showing up to Mom Talk events after everything that happened recently. Because while for us, the audience, it's been 8 months, it's only been 2 for them. Jen then tells Whitney that after everything in Vegas with Chippendales and Zach, she doesn't know if she can trust any of the ladies anymore, saying that she reached out to every single person in the group message. Okay, that's the difference. She claims every person in the group, but then she says it was in the group message, so you didn't see it because remember, Whitney left the group message. So my thought is, well, if you were reaching out to every single person, why didn't Whitney matter enough to reach out to? Just curious. But she says she messaged them all telling them that she and Zach were struggling at the moment with all the negativity online, and she asked that they don't feed into it, but that no one responded to her. Was I one of the people feeding into the negativity? Yes, because also I believed and still believe Jen deserves better than how he's been treating her. Okay. And I've made it clear it is not a Zach Affleck hate page that I have, but we need some more time and to be seeing a lot more from him, a lot more change, a lot more groveling before I'm even allowing it. Am I going to give him one small thing, which is that, yes, you are admitting that you were a complete and total twat to your wife? Yes, I'll give him that. But I also am not giving him a full point for it because I don't think he would have ever admitted to that if the entire world had not been like, you are a douche canoe. Let's just speak facts, babes. Now Taylor shows up and is curious to see what Miranda has to say to the group. It's agreed that Taylor and Miranda do have to have a conversation here, and Macy wants to know Miranda's intentions with inviting everyone over after not speaking for 2 years. Miranda just kind of wanted to have some sort of an icebreaker, get everyone together and just be like, here's the thing. Let's just get all in the same room and get it done. Macy wants to know. I'm sorry. Miranda, no. Michaela. Gosh dang. Macy, Miranda, Michaela. My God. Anywho, Michaela asserts that the timing of Miranda doing this is what feels suspect to her. And going back to the conversation at the Cowboy Pillows event where Miranda claimed that the soft swinging was only kissing, is the way she's making her point. Now, when Miranda was on the Vile Files, she said that out of everyone in the group, it was actually Michaela who was the hardest on her coming in, but that she's kind of come to love and accept that as part of Michaela's persona. Now, there have been so many things coming out on social media. We knew this would happen, of course, once the season aired between all of the ladies. But I'm going to tell you this too, because I get exhausted of this particular comment. They're just faking it to get people to watch the show. It's produced drama. Is there surely an element of that in some cases? Yes. We're not idiots, right? However, they don't get screeners. They don't get to watch the season before the audience does. They watch it at the same time as us. Yeah, friends. They sure do. They sure do. So they are going to be reacting in real time. Their interviews are being released the day it comes out, and they're timed to be released after to get the most traction. So it's going to be talked about for a minute here, friends. Okay. Besties, this is the end of my recap for episode 1. We didn't even have to do it in 2 parts. Oh my God. Phew, we did it. Friends, if you are listening on audio, please do me a solid. It's free to do. It's a gift you could give me for free. Look at me asking for gifts. Could you leave a 5-star review with a comment about what you do like about this show? I can't tell you how much it does to support Besties by Bravo podcast, which also I am changing the name soon and there will be new cover art. I've said that for a while, but it is coming. I just have to have a chance to take some photos because those photos are old and I feel like it's like trying to use, I don't know, your college photos when you're like a working professional, even though they were professional photos. Anyway, could you leave a 5-star review? It would mean the world. Really would. Also, go give me a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's at Besties by Caitlin on all 3, CAITLIN. And Besties, I will see you again soon. I'm going to be trying to release as many of these episodes as quickly as possible, but these are meaty episodes. They are longer episodes than Bravo shows that I usually do. That extra 10 minutes adds at least an extra 30 to 40 minutes of note taking. And that should really concern you about what type of person I am that I'm taking notes for that long. Whew. Anywho, friends, I will see you on episode 2 recap of season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Thanks again for joining. Bye.